SEO, AEO, and GEO. So let's be honest, judgment free here. How many people 6 months ago had heard all three of those terms, SEO, AEO, and GEO? Huh, okay, some of y'all are full of it, but that's fine. That's fine, that's cool. We don't have to talk about it. I do want to kind of demystify today because two of those are very new because of the disruption that every industry is seeing with AI being a game changer. So what I'm hoping we can do today is demystify what a lot of that means and kind of boil it down to how does that actually apply to your business? What do you need to do differently to be successful in that realm? And so, in effect, there used to be in the digital age, SEO is the old one, right? And so to kind of break through the noise, SEO, search engine optimization, was all about, you know, when people did a Google search or a Bing search, it generated a list of links, right? And it was all, SEO was all about how do I organically go in and make changes to my website and make changes off of my website so that the Google gods smile upon me and I'm further up in that list. I'm on page 1 because page 2 is where they buried Jimmy Hoffa. You don't want to be there. The other two are much newer. So AEO is, in effect, a quick answer to a direct question. So how many of you now, when you go to Google and you say, you know, you search what are the hours for this business, or, you know, what are the best businesses that do X? You know, how do I reheat pizza the best way? Whatever it is, instead of, you still get the site, you still get the list of links, but now you get an AI summary that's up there at the very top that kind of gives an overall consensus and as direct an answer as possible. So I'm going to go through and actually show screenshots of each one, but that in effect is AEO, and then finally, GEO is actually a chat model, whether it is ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, directly recommending your business. So whenever you hear those terms, you would think if ever before I had said SEO, AEO, and GEO all in like a 30-second span, I'm either on Sesame Street or a heavy dose of Molly. But in this case, that's what each of those mean. One is about making sure that you appear in the list of links, which, to show a screenshot of each, right? So SEO, when you do a Google search for networking opportunities in Roanoke, it's the list that generates and doing all of the things on your website you can to make sure you're there. Quick answer, or AEO, is that AI overview, something like that, where you'll see, oh, well, the AI overview says that there are chamber networking things. That's a crazy idea. There's tech and innovation nights, that sort of thing. So they list and give answers. Or GEO would be going to ChatGPT and saying, what are some of the great networking opportunities in Roanoke? Well, the Salem-Roanoke County Chamber might be one, right? So you used to have to make sure that what you were doing on your website set you up for success in one of those areas. And, you know, we help a lot of businesses with SEO. We put together SEO campaigns that we're going in and we're making tweaks and whatnot. That's completely changed. Our SEO guy, his marriage is on the rocks because he's now having to account for 2 more verticals, and your website has to be good at all of them. And we're going to talk briefly today about some, I think, actionable takeaways you guys can immediately do to help you stand out better in those areas. And obviously, if you want to take a deeper dive into that, our company does help and put together customized plans that account for all 3 that we'd love to talk with you about. So, one thing, before I jump right into that, I thought this was interesting. Google has always been the big granddaddy of search, right? If somebody's doing a search, you guys remember Ask Jeeves? I wonder how he's doing, right? So, for the longest time, Google, and still does, capture the majority of searches, but it is really interesting to see every year them go about 88%, 5 years later, still about 88%, and then to see a 10% drop. And that 10% drop happened very quickly. Now, part of that is chat and language models kind of stealing the show there. People going to ChatGPT, people going to Gemini instead of going to Google. Some of that, frankly, is blowback on Google as far as there's been heightened awareness of Well, the lawsuit they were in for creating monopoly and all these types of things. So an interesting thing that is of note, even though Google is still your primary search engine, while they're down 10%, Bing is up 160%. It's still a small slice, but it is interesting to see more diversification there. So one thing I will say about SEO and what you're doing to make sure that you rank well in search engine, it's no longer profitable to say that only means Google. You know, you do want to make sure that you are accounting for Bing, because that does appear to be stealing some audience share from them. And so there's a lot of overlap as far as like if you're going to optimize SEO on your website, you know, there's going to be things like making sure that there's technical clarity on your website. There's nothing wrong. There's no bad information. Trustworthy information. Certainly both of those search engines penalize websites that have info that they would say is either deliberately or indeliberately misleading. And, of course, a strong user experience. Both Google and Bing, while they have embraced AI in a big way, employ hundreds and hundreds of just users that actually are supposed to help determine ranking by going to websites and just capturing, basically recording their experience of, I thought this website was pleasant to look at, or it was really fugly, or it was confusing, or I found what I was looking for easily. So with how much we talk about AI and how much we're going to kind of get lost into that, the user experience, the actual human experience, still needs to take precedent. That's something that is going to be common between both of those. But there are also differences. So for one, Google loves links, actually, to just jump down to number 2 here, strong and relevant links. So inbound and outbound links on your website. Google has said, and as they change their algorithms constantly, so you have to pay creeps like me to do your SEO for you, one thing that always remains one of their top most important elements for SEO ranking is how many links on your website are leading to other websites. So, you know, when you go to wheelerdigital.com, there are links that keep hitting this little thing, John. It's going to mess up your mic. It's going to sound like one of those ASMR channels. I'm going to start scratching and stuff. Links would basically be, if someone goes to wheelerdigital.com, you'll see that whenever we've won an award or we're a member of a certain chamber, when you click on that, it directs you to another website because Google likes that interconnectivity. That would be an outbound link, basically driving someone away from your website to another website, a vendor, a co-op partner, a chamber you're a part of, what have you. An inbound link is another website that is referencing you. So if you have a Better Business Bureau profile or you're part of the chamber, there are links on those sites, or make sure that there are links on those sites that are leading to your website, because the more inbound links, they care about that. Versus Bing doesn't care as much about links. They are much more about on-page optimization. They prioritize more your meta tags, your alt tags, your site schema. Those matter on both, but they care much more about what have you done on the page to optimize. Bing cares a lot more about social engagement. So making sure that, like, Bing will rank a business higher because it has more social followers, or it posts more regularly, or it's on more social channels. Bing also is all about exact matches and exact focus pages. So they basically will look for the page. If someone does a Google search, they will try to find and rank the page that almost exactly mimics that search, like word for word. Versus Google takes a little bit more of a holistic view. It looks at the overall quality and content of your page. So I would say Google cares a whole lot about good content marketing, things like a blog and whatnot that helps establish your expertise, if you will. Does that make sense? Good. To talk a little bit about AEO. So this is the answer engine. This is the AI summary at the top of Google. So let's say someone asked the specific question, does this dentist offer emergency visits? How does Google get that information? Well, it gets it from your website, and the key there is to make it easy to find. Don't make it hunt for it, and don't trust the AI to be smart enough to piece it together, even if it's kind of on your website. This is where I'd say the biggest game changer for AEO is a frequently asked questions section. So, is that the next thing I had? Did it not? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, if you do not have a frequently asked questions page, make one. It's great as a user experience, but it is the biggest game changer on AEO. And when you're doing that, it's all about asking specific questions and making sure it's really filled out. Not only that, but I was talking with a credit union last week about their SEO and AEO optimization. They have a frequently asked questions page, but they were really trying to get people to, they were trying to get more credit cards opened, right? More credit card accounts. So they had a credit cards page, and then separate from that, they had questions about credit cards on their frequently asked questions page, which is fine. What we actually encourage them to do is get any of the relevant questions that pertain to that service and put those on the credit card page too. So even if that means there's some duplication there, if there's ever any place where you can just deliberately ask a question and give an answer, that helps the chat models, and especially the AI summary for Google, go, ooh, I know the answer to this, and supply it accurately from there. So, does that make sense? Cool. GEO. This is more, how do you get when someone types in, help my basement flooded, and how do you make sure that ServPro is what ChatGPT recommends? Well, there are a lot of different, that's a little darker than I wanted it to be. That's a little hard to see. Great. There are 4 main areas that can help you. Thank you, and I appreciate it. Ooh, yeah, that's great. These also just are for show, basically. So, the 4 main things that you can do here are, you can make sure, again, that there are clear facts stated on your website very explicitly. These are the services we offer, as well as, I can't say enough about the geography. A lot of times, AI models and Google and Bing all struggle with, even if it feels obvious, where does this business actually operate? What does it cover? So as often as you can, without being just totally clumsy, specify, like, these are the areas that we have stores. This is our area of operation. This is our, service area and whatnot, wherever you can, as blatantly as you can. Reviews are huge for GEO. So, Gemini, obviously, is Google's language model, and so Google, in an attempt to pull ahead, has masked a lot of things from the other chat models. One thing that is very open and available to all chat models, to your ChatGPTs, to your Claudes and whatnot, are reviews, and reviews matter so much. So while that's always been true for SEO, reviews are a huge part of when you ask ChatGPT a question, it's crawling all the reviews it can find, and that will be a huge part of, did you make the cut or not, when it gives a recommendation. Proof. So you saying great things about your business, of course, that's an easy sell, and you should do that. You should promote yourself. But if you have credentials, if you have awards, if you are a member of something, if you've got certifications of any kind, listing those as prominently as you can on your website, on your Google business profile, what have you, that's key. And I think examples of your work. So, if someone is looking for HVAC, making sure that you have before-after examples, or like real pictures. Have your technicians, Brandon, when you're publishing, or when you're getting pictures of, a job well done, ServPro, when you fixed a basement or what have you that was flooded, push out that content on social, publish it on your website, even try to take advantage of it on your Google business profile too, because ChatGPT and Gemini and whatnot view those examples very heavily. They weight that a lot more heavily than you saying, this is what we do. And then consistency. So that really kind of is an old SEO trick too, your NAP being consistent. Your name, your address, your phone number, right? So if your phone or address has ever changed, if you rebranded, if the business name changed, just making sure that, obviously on your website you think to update that, But if there are any lingering listings out there from, Chambers or BBB or on Bing or wherever it is, making sure that that is consistent everywhere. Because both search engines and chat models, when they see some confusion over, is that the address? Is that the phone number? Or, I'm seeing 2 different names for this business, they do penalize you for that. So making sure there is consistency across the board in all of those. And then, while you're making those changes, always be specific about what you offer, where you serve, who you serve. Show proof. I know I've sort of repeating some of this stuff, but use reviews, use examples, use photos, use real experiences, and then, make sure that you are consistent in all of those areas when your business info is being put out there. Your hours, make sure that's consistent everywhere. So really, and I'm about to pass it over to Fredy here in a minute to talk about how AI has kind of changed the advertising landscape specifically with PMax. But if you were to do 4 things, I think, after this meeting, that would help. One would be, I want you to make a list of customer questions, right? So try to put yourself in your customer's seat. That's always a good exercise, right? I had a client who always spent a huge chunk of his marketing budget on this one billboard, and it was because it was a billboard he passed every day. And I was like, okay, great. How much money, or how often are you buying your own company? Don't think in your brain. Think in your customer's brain, and come up with a list of common questions. Or if you have, tellers or technicians or people under you, that have them make lists. Come up with a list of questions, come up with specific answers, and include in those answers next steps. As far as, yes, we offer these services, and here's the next step if you want to engage us. And then when you get that, put that on your website as a frequently asked questions. Put that on your Google business, and there is a frequently asked questions that you can do in there. Put that on socials, wherever you can. And then, make sure that you're maximizing your reviews, your credentials, your years in business, accurate business details, and then, from there, like you do with any form of advertising, even though this is not really paid as such, see if you see a lift from it. Start tracking calls, forms, appointments, leads, sales. See how it compares after you do this to before. Cool? All right. And after Fred's done with his part, we'll have a whole Q&A. So, please feel free to ask questions. Before I turn it over to him, what he is really going to talk about is, rather than how AI has changed SEO and how it's now created these 2 other verticals that you have to be good at, making sure that your business ranks and is visible in, so many ad platforms are now basically letting AI completely take the wheel. It's an exciting time. It's also a very dangerous time. There are more terrible ads being generated by AI right now, than I've ever seen. That incredibly vanilla copy. The dude has 8 fingers on one hand. Your logo is changed. One of the things that while we use AI in almost every digital product that we offer, we always make sure that we have a human-in-the-loop approach, where our team is protecting your brand and is making sure that with all the exciting things that you can do, that you're not letting it completely run away. Because if you let AI optimize your digital campaigns, God knows who it will find. It might say, for ServPro, the guy who was the last person who converted really liked My Little Pony, so we need to target My Little Pony fans. You need to have a quality assurance in there. And so Fredy's going to talk about probably the top product that didn't exist that long ago that is crucial to, AI is really what powers it in a lot of ways, and yet he'll talk about how we kind of marry that AI technology with our team of experts to make sure that you have a powerful ROI and an experience that protects your brand. I'll pass it over to him.
Cool. Thank you. before we go any further, I just want to take a few minutes to tell you guys a little bit more about Wheeler Digital. You heard our introduction, you saw the slide. We're called the Wheeler Wise Guys. That is actually our podcast. Amanda mentioned earlier, she's heard our voices on WFIR, all the radio stations that Lee talked about in the introduction. You can hear 60-second commercials of us doing exactly what we're doing right now. We're breaking down digital, making it easy to understand. So if you listen to radio locally, you'll hear us there. But also, I want you to write this down. You can go to wheelerwiseguys.com or wheelerdigital.com. You just find a library of stuff like this that we've done, educational. It's our job in the beginning. You know, we started this 10 years ago. Digital is scary, right? Digital is this overarching umbrella term. What does it mean? What's underneath it? You have all these acronyms, SEO, AEO, GEO. Now you guys are experts in that. But there's so many things that advertisers and marketers still have questions about. So use it as a resource. We do a lot of these chamber events around town. Not only with this chamber, we're lucky to get to be here, but with others as well. Looking around the room, I see a lot of client partners that I'm thankful you guys are here. So please use it as a resource and know that you can reach out to Cameron and I, and we'll do our best to break things down for you. Before we go any further, I just want, based on what Cameron just shared, how many of you still use Google as your search? Show of hands. Is that your first stop? Okay. How many of you would say ChatGPT or some type of AI is your first stop for searching? Okay. That's about even, I guess. How many would say you go, if let's specifically talking about products, researching products, something you're going to buy, would you go to Google? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you would go to Amazon to start your search? Okay. All right, cool. That just kind of gives me an idea of where to go with this. So what Cameron just talked about, it's really a land grab, right? So I bet, again, we could have conversations here in this room. If 20 years ago you would have bought a bunch of .coms, you could have resold those by now. You could be a millionaire sitting here in the room with us, multimillionaire. There are so many .coms that were bought up and never used, and people have just held on to them. You've heard these stories. We work with a guy who bought one, who HBO reached out. They created a TV show based on the name of this .com. They bought the .com from him.
Before Walking Dead became a TV show, AMC bought The Walking Dead, but didn't buy Walking Dead. So he bought that and sold it for an obscene amount of money.
So this is our opportunity to get ahead of AI, right? This is that land grab opportunity. It happened 25 years ago with SEO. Right now is our opportunity with AI. And that's what we want to talk about. Everything that Cameron just shared is kind of, it's happening today, but it's things you can work on. There's still that land grab opportunity that's happening right now. So what Cameron shared, that's today, this afternoon, tomorrow. What I want to talk to you is what's happening today and what happened last week. This is stuff that you probably don't even realize is happening. I'm going to turn this a little bit. So we know, based on the show of hands that just happened in the room, we know that AI is changing search. Several of you in the room already raised your hands. You use AI as your first point of research when you're searching for something online. So to keep up, of course, as Cameron showed, Google had to make some changes. We saw that big drop, 10%, is that what it was? In the last year, 10% of users have stopped using Google in the last year. So Google's like, hold up, where are my people going? I need to make some changes. And what I'm about to show you is their fix for keeping some of that revenue and keeping everybody coming back to the Google search page. So it's one of the biggest AI search changes. It's called Google Performance Max. How many people in the room have heard it? Yes, okay. Several of you I know have even done this product with us. It produces great results. It's good in that it reaches people on the search results page and then in other places too that we'll talk about. I think before we go any further, it's important to continue what Cameron just said on his last slide. AI is not replacing marketers. AI is not something we should be scared of. I think because of all of you in the room here, you're showing that you're not scared of it, right? You're learning about it. There are so many of us, marketers, business owners, website developers, who are afraid of AI and they don't want to buy into it because they're afraid that their jobs will be replaced. If you use it the right way, it can be a great assistant. And that's what we say. We do it every day. We use it as an assistant, but we still humanize it and touch it and make sure everything is good before we let something roll out. So it's replacing the manual work. So the old way, this is Google, right? If you go to Google today, you still might see something like this, but even last year, 2 years ago, this is what your Google search page would have looked like. I just picked a generic term, birdhouses, okay? You search birdhouses, maybe looking to buy a Mother's Day gift or a birthday gift for grandma, whatever it is. You go to Google, you type birdhouses in the search box up at the top. Those first few ads in that left-hand yellow outline box are what were called sponsored results. Those were birdhouse manufacturers paying to get their ad shown above the organic searches. If you guys were to go to Google today, how many of you would click on a sponsored ad? Nobody. That is exactly what research shows. Nobody in the room raised their hand. We all are smart enough now to know these are people that are paying to be at the top of the page. I'm not going to click there. I'm going to go down and look for organic stuff. On the right-hand side, since this is a product you could buy, you could also see actual birdhouses you can buy. Some of those are also sponsored placements. But again, I think based on that exercise we just went through, the majority of us are going to scroll down to the bottom. Maybe today we don't even start with Google. Those of you who shop on Amazon, that's exactly where you'd go. So keep that in mind. This is the old Google ads, only on Google. And to set this up, these advertisers had to pick their keywords. So when do I want my ads to serve? And you had to submit an exhaustive list of keywords. Yes, birdhouses, but best birdhouses, birdhouses that last. All of these different keywords you had to manually work to submit to Google. You had to write an ad. You got an opportunity to write one ad. You had to write the headline, the description, the link. You had to supply the photos, one ad. You had to choose your placement. Do you want it to be a sponsored result on the left? Do you want it to be a product placement on the right? A couple of questions you had to answer with Google. And it was a bidding process. It still is a bidding process, but in this case, sometimes you had to manually adjust your bids because if I'm selling birdhouses, so are you. And in this case, I want my ad to show higher than yours, so I need to bid against you, and I'm constantly adjusting bids. So you see where I'm going. This was a lot of manual work. In addition to that, as you're building your audiences, you have to sit there and think about, what can I do to make this better? Let me optimize. Let me move these things around. Let me change this copy. Let me submit this new photo, this new video. A lot of work. Performance Max, the new Google has now said, let's make it easier for advertisers. Let's use AI to formulate the ads in real time. And in order to make this happen, we submit a list of headlines, a list of descriptions, a list of images, or a couple of images, a couple of videos, and we tell it what is our end goal. We want to sell birdhouses. And the way I like to explain this, I meant to grab them as I was walking out of the house from my daughter's playroom, and I left them. These are Legos. These are building blocks. That's the way I like to explain it, and I had a visual I was going to show. Each of these are Legos. So when I submit these to Google for my birdhouse company, it is going to say, okay, this headline is going to work really well with this photo and this description. And in real time, AI is building the ad for me. So think of all of these as we move forward as Lego pieces. After you submit those, Google figures out the rest. These ads not only appear on traditional Google search, like that first screen we just looked at, you're going to start seeing these Performance Max ads as display ads as you look at other websites on all device types, desktop, mobile. You will see the ads inside of YouTube. Google owns YouTube. Why not take advantage of that? You'll see ads inside of Google Discover. You will see sponsored emails or promoted emails inside of your Gmail inbox. And if I open my Google Maps and I navigate to the nearest home decor store, because I fall into the behavioral targeting for birdhouses, I might see an ad right there inside of Google Maps. So we went from one placement on Google Search to everything that you see here on the screen. This takes that screen that I was just on a step further. So inside of Google Search, you can see here what it would look like on a mobile screen. Traditional search. Display ads, all of those Legos that we submitted, it's now built in real time, this HVAC ad, serving up on YouTube. Here, left-hand side is a display ad, non-moving, just image ad. Middle is a Google Discover ad. Then we've got the Maps ads on the left and the Gmail-sponsored email ads on the right. So remember, this is old Google, right? We had to do a lot of work to get here. I submitted all of my Legos, my descriptions, my headlines, my photos, my videos. These are the headlines I submitted. Handmade birdhouses, birdhouses built to last. I want to attract more backyard birds. You get the idea. My descriptions. I want to give bluebirds, wrens, and chickadees a beautiful place to nest. These were all AI written, by the way. Handmade cedar birdhouses built to last. Again, you get the idea. Headlines are short, descriptions are a little bit longer. I submitted my images, my videos. I told it I want to sell birdhouses. Look what it produced. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Google builds the ads in real time. I already told you it's Lego blocks. You're giving Google the bucket of pieces. Let's go here. This is what it built for me. I didn't have to do this work. AI in real time spit out what it thinks will be effective ads. So it's taking all of those Lego pieces, those building blocks, and I know it's hard to see, so in this screen, we zoom in a little bit further. Left-hand side, it built a search ad. Middle is the mobile search ad, and right is the display banner ad that it built for me. So if Carrie is searching for a birdhouse, the ad that he's going to see will look completely different than the ad that Amanda will see. In real time, it's figuring out what ad are you most likely to click on? What call to action is there? On the left-hand side, under the search ad, you see there are what we call call extensions. So there's a button that says shop birdhouses, bird feeders, new arrivals, and about us. So it's also pulling more in-depth pages, not just one singular homepage click. Now I have the opportunity, if I want to know about this handmade birdhouse and who's making it, I can click directly from the Google ad into the About Us section. So you guys immediately see this is happening today. Did anybody know that AI ads are kind of happening like this? And it's crazy. I have an example further down, though, that shows you if you just allow AI to do all of the work, and there is that option. With Google Performance Max, you can allow it to do everything. It scrapes your website, it pulls images, it pulls videos, all the Lego pieces we just talked about. If you do that and you don't touch it, I have an example of what the ads will look like. Just to reiterate, it's important for a human to always touch whatever you're doing with AI. So remember, with Performance Max and everything we've just talked about with the Lego blocks, you're not telling Google how to advertise anymore, right? You're telling it what success looks like for you. You want people to click and convert and buy those birdhouses. So how does Google know who to show your ads to? What makes it tick? What are the puzzle pieces that make it work? So these couple of slides go through the puzzle pieces. So there's search themes, there's category targeting, and there's retargeting. To break that down, make it simple, come on. First is search themes. So these are basically like things that you would go to Google and you would search for. So you can submit, each search theme can be 80 characters. You can see, can't have health condition related. Google gives you all the rules, right? But you submit your search themes. I want these ads to show to people if they come to Google and they search for something related to birdhouses. That's puzzle piece number one. That's traditional, right? Number two is category targeting. So if I want my ads to show to people because they have demographics or have recently bought something else relating to a birdhouse, if I know as an advertiser that they've searched for something for grandmother's birthday, right? Why not serve them an ad to buy grandma a birdhouse? So you can see here, there's over 1,000 categories targeting inside of Performance Max. With this category targeting, you can do demographics, incomes, marital status, whether or not they own a home. You get where I'm going. So you have your search themes, you have your category targeting, and also, if I am buying a birdhouse, I want it to be a nice gift for grandma. I'm not probably not going to buy the first birdhouse that I look at, right? So this website retargeting keeps that Performance Max ad in front of me, reminding me why I should go back to the website to buy the birdhouse for grandma. So even as I'm researching, I'm still seeing ads saying, come buy this one, come buy this one, come buy this one. So you can see an example here of what website retargeting on Performance Max would look like inside of YouTube, search, and maps. So Google can decide who sees your ad, but what Google, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. They can decide who sees your ad, they can decide where they see it, when they see it, but what Google cannot decide for you, and this is that human element that's always needed with AI, they can't write the ads for you. So that was the Lego blocks that we submitted. AI knows what performs. It's building these ads in real time. But you know what matters. Like Cameron was saying, you know your customers. You know what questions are being asked. You know if you are a bank or an insurance company, what those FAQs are. You know as a HVAC company, what makes the phone ring? What are people's issues? As a furniture store, you know what people are searching for. All of these different things, you have to feed to Google. And if you don't, I'll show you what it's going to look like. So creativity, I want you guys to leave with this, is the AI advantage. We in this room are all marketers, we're advertisers, business owners. We're the creative ones, right? Google's not creative. We have to submit the Lego pieces and make them creative, fit your brand. Google can write the ad, but it can't tell your story. This is the example I keep talking about. Left is a furniture ad, completely generated by AI. We did nothing. The right one, we submitted the Lego pieces. We're telling our story. How many of you would click the left ad? How many of you would click the right one? Yep. So even though it's AI, again, I think our common goal is we want you to leave knowing AI still needs the human touch. Final thought, Google rewards the business that gives AI the best ingredients. So always have that visual of Lego blocks. The more you tell it, the more you train it, the more personalized it becomes. All right.